Thank you, Deputy President, and I rise to take note of all answers today. And can I start by saying that performance by Senator Wong was quite unbecoming. It was just basically a shouting match to try and shut down the fact that the Labor government has no plan. And this Christmas we will see tens of thousands of Australians living out on the streets as a result of Labor's reckless government throughout the last 18 months. For the first 16 months, all they could focus on was virtue signalling with their identity politics and The Voice. $450 million was wasted on nothing. And while this was happening, they opened up the borders and allowed the floodgates to open, where we saw a rise in immigration up to tracking now to be 600,000 annually. And on top of that, we've now seen the release of 143 hardened criminals, 5 of which have already breached their conditions. So not only have we got homelessness, not only have we got high energy prices, not only have we got high cost of living, not only have we got high rents, we've now got criminals out on the streets, and that echoes what's going on in my own home state of Queensland, where crime is through the roof. We've got ambulance ramping through the roof. Why? Because we have Labor governments in power across the country who do not know how to manage the economy, how to uphold law and order. And it is a great concern. It is a great concern. And, if anyone was going to play the Grinch this Christmas, it would have to be Prime Minister Albanese, because so many people are doing it tough. And earlier this week we saw a pathetic attempt by Senator Watt to make a big statement to Coles and Woolworths. He wants to put a cap on the price of ham. Well, I can assure you the price of ham is the least of people's problems as they struggle to fill the tanks, as they're sitting out there waiting for an ambulance to arrive, as they're sitting there on a Saturday morning looking for a place to rent, as they log on to their net bank accounts only to find out that the credit card has been maxed, or they're waiting to hear back from their insurance because their car has been broken into, because law and order is out of control. The cost of living is out of control. And then we've got our poor old farmers out there in regional Australia who are doing it tough. I've touched on this many times, how the decline of essential services is gutting regional Australia. And what's Labor's response to that is to introduce a nature repair bill that is basically going to pay wealthy foreigners to come in, buy Australian land and shut it down. That will only destroy more jobs in the regions, which will then flow on into the cities and destroy more jobs, as eventually the Labor government destroys Australia, destroys its economy and eventually shuts everything down. And the question has to be is that how much longer can the people, the hard workers of Australia, sustain this type of pressure? That is a question that we will see in 2024, because let me tell you, the one thing that has shocked me, regardless of the outcome of the referendum, was that cost of living was always going to be front and centre. Now, you would have thought, regardless of the outcome, Labor would have had a plan coming out of the referendum to deal with it. But they haven't got a plan. Their only plan is to keep immigration high, to keep spending subsidising more foreign-built and foreign-owned renewables, that is driving up the cost of energy, that is sending businesses offshore, and then basically shut down our agricultural sector and our mining sector. I mean, this is those two sectors is what's keeping Australia afloat. And the other thing we've seen in this last 2 sitting weeks is basically we're now pulling out 450 gigalitres out of the Murray-Darling system, only to flow down to the lower lakes and evaporate. We've already got 900 gigalitres evaporating in the lower lakes down there. And of course I'll take that interjection, thanks Senator Wong, because if Senator Wong actually was a true South Australian and a true Australian, she would be arguing to build a lock above the lower lakes, where you keep the fresh water in a lock. I'll challenge you to that, Senator Wong, above the lower lakes, where you've got fresh water and you can use that for immigration, rather than letting it flow into the lower lakes where it just evaporates. It is crazy to think that you would push all that water, just divert the water from the east coast to the southern coast. Billions of dollars were spent by Ben Chiefley to do this, the Snowy Hydro scheme. And what's Labor doing? They're shutting down our primary resource sector.
Authorised G. Rennick, LNP Chermside.